Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Ben and JB from JBM Sports Media coming at you guys with our World Series Game 7 review. The series has concluded, guys. It's over. We have the champs, and they are the LA Dodgers. The Dodgers are back-to-back World Series campeones. It's crazy to say because obviously we haven't had this happen since, what was it, 99, 2000?
98, 99.
98, 99. There you go. JB, the Yankees fan, knows it best. JB, let's get right into it. What do you think, or what did you think about that historic Game 7? Because that's really what it was.
So, I mean, if I had put up a video right before the game had started on TikTok, and I had said I think it's going to be a game for the ages, and that's literally what it was. Even Game 6 was a game for the ages. I mean, just the way everything had come full circle, and then if you want to get back to Game 3 with the 18-inning performance and Freddie Freeman walking off, Game 3. I mean, those 3 games are probably the 3 best World Series games that you could possibly ask for. But in terms of why the Dodgers won, they did the small things. I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat anything or try to make you look at something that's you don't even have to worry about looking at. They did the small things correct. They played defense. I mean, Andy Pages with that play in left center. I mean, that was just incredible. I mean, I think that's probably like an understatement. And then Miguel Rojas with that play at second base and able to throw IKF out at the plate. They just do things that most teams can't do. And even though it may be small, like routine stuff, they get it done. And that's why they're the champions.
Yeah, I think when we look at a few moments in this game, obviously I think starting off with highlight number 1 has to be the Bichette 3-run home run. I know you had mentioned it because your brother had texted you basically saying that this 3-run home run came a little bit too early in the game.
Yeah.
But it came, and it was off Ohtani. Obviously, it had the crowd roaring and popping at the moment, and rightfully so. I mean, it was a pitch that he made Ohtani pay, a pitch that Ohtani left hanging, and he destroyed it. And at that moment, I said, okay, if the Blue Jays could just somehow maintain, which they were doing a good job for the most part, they're going to win this game. Unfortunately, it didn't end up happening for them. But what did you think about that home run when it happened?
So I, like I said, for me, when my brother had texted me and said that it's a little too early, I didn't think so. I thought that it was. Listen, a 3-run homer, you could take a 3-run homer, first inning, 8th inning, it doesn't matter. It's a 3-run homer. I felt like that was the table setting moment in the game, and then they were up 4-2 as well. The Dodgers had crept back, made it 3-2. And then the Blue Jays come back, they get that 4th run, and now you're like, you know what? This is just looking like it's not the Dodgers' night, and it looks like that Toronto's going to snap this 32-year streak of not winning a World Series. But you can't count them out. Like I said, a 2-run lead against this team is not enough. It's just not, and it like that. It was the snap of a finger, and the game was tied. And when you keep a team like that, a championship caliber team, and let them hang around, that's what's going to happen, bro. And that's exactly what happened yesterday.
Yeah, Trey Savage, they brought him in. He gave up the home run, I believe it was to Max Muncy, making the game 3-2, I believe. And was it 3-2? Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Because that's when Rojas tied it up.
Or so when it was 4-2. It was 4-2. He made it 4-3.
4-3. Thank you. He made it 4-3. And then in the ninth inning, in the 9th inning, Hoffman came in, or he came in the 8th actually to close it out for Trey Savage's outing. And that's when Hoffman came in. He was, first out. I think it was Pages. He got him out pretty cleanly in the 9th. And then it came Rojas. He just went to go get that one, and he got it good. Rojas hit that, and it was one of the moments that we're going to replay. Looking at this series, looking at it in the history of baseball, because who would have thought Miguel Rojas saving it for the Dodgers in that moment, in that time? You could hear the silence from the crowd. We look at that Miguel Rojas home run in the 9th inning. Obviously, a guy that we don't expect to pull up a situation like that and, have a moment like that. But that's why they say the postseason, the most unexpected things happen. And what did you think about that moment when it happened, JB? Be honest.
I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. I was actually on the phone with Mike, and when it happened, and I was going nuts. It was like almost like it was the Yankees that had did it. That's how much emotion I had. I was like, I can't believe that this guy just homered. And Ro, credit to him. He had said he didn't like the idea of Hoffman coming in for a 4 or 5 out save. And he thought that he should have started the 9th only and not come in the 8th. Even though, like you had said, he got the out in the 8th and there was no problem. He just didn't like Hoffman being overextended a little bit, and there you go. He leaves a hanging slider, and Rojas. Let me tell you something. Rojas didn't. I don't think he was on the roster up until the World Series. I don't think he was in the NLDS roster or the NLCS roster. Was put on the World Series roster and comes in and hits the biggest home run of the whole series. It's like you would think it's one of the bigger guys, Freeman, Muncy, which he played his part. Ohtani, Betts. You would think one of those guys would answer the bell, but no, it was Miguel Rojas, a guy who hasn't had much success in the last couple of weeks, which is why he was left off the roster. Earlier in the playoffs, was added to have some depth now, and Dave Roberts just he hit the right buttons and he put him in and he did what he had to do. There's nothing else you could say about it, bro.
When you look at, credit to Dave Roberts, all the buttons he pushed in this game were all the correct buttons. He took Ohtani out, obviously, when it was time to take Ohtani out. I will say this. The fact of the matter is that Yoshi and what he did in this series, I mean, obviously he won the MVP, but for him to come and close out that game after pitching the way he did in Game 6, he threw a complete game in Game 2, I believe it was. It was Game 2. Man, this guy, bro, Dave Roberts owes this guy a steak for life or something, bro. Who knows? But that guy saved them so many times in this series.
And at the end of the game, he hugged Yamamoto. You saw he was hugging him, and they hugged for about 25 seconds. Like, he was probably telling him like everything that he could possibly tell him, but all that emotion mixed in. But he was phenomenal. I mean, you want to talk about a dog?
Yep.
This guy was a straight dog. I mean, the fact that he was able to come out in Game 7 after pitching Game 6, like, come on, what are we talking about? Just him even being in there, he already won the MVP in my mind.
I absolutely agree with you, and I think the fact of the matter is, Blake Snell came in the 9th, I believe. He held it down. The Dodgers and the Blue Jays both had a chance. The Dodgers in the 10th, I believe, they had the bases loaded.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was the 10th. And the Blue Jays had the bases loaded in the 9th, I believe, bottom 9th. And they had one out. That's where the IKF play came into factor with Will Smith. He lifted his foot up, but at the end of the day, he got it on the plate no matter what. Which is crazy if you look at that
Will
replay.
Smith too. Will Smith is another guy. He's always in it. He's always answering the bell at the right times. Another clutch player.
Both teams had opportunity to strike late. The Dodgers did strike late when Bieber came into the game. Bieber hung that pitch, and Will Smith made him pay for it, every bit of that pitch. And, yeah, Kershaw, you could see he was in the bullpen when that was going on. Bro, he got hyped. Obviously, it's his last season. He's now retired. Yeah. But it's crazy how it went down. It's crazy. It was one of the best Game 7s I've seen since, honestly, Cubs. I'm pretty sure Cubs Guardians, obviously Cubs Indians.
Yes.
But you know what I mean?
I did 2016, 100%. That game was fantastic. That was probably the last best Game 7 that we've had. Yeah.
And this game right here, like I said, I'm very interested to see what the ratings are going to be. Obviously, the Canada-USA aspect of it as well. Toronto, LA, two big markets. When the ratings do officially come out for this game, I'm very much so going to be interested to see that.
Yeah, that's actually a good point because it's two different countries now. It's not the same country. You have two different states. Now you got two different countries, which, to piggyback off what you said, is going to be interesting to see where the numbers sit. But I think it's going to be historic because Toronto and the whole country of Canada in itself, they haven't been in this position in 32 years. So all those eyes on this team, including LA and the rest of the United States, it's probably going to be up there. I can't see why it wasn't.
Yeah, and you know what? I feel very bad for Vladdy. I'll be honest. He tried everything. He led it off with a double in a bottom 11th, and they couldn't bring him in. Kirk rounded into a double play. Mookie played that very well. Man, it's unfortunate because Toronto did everything they could. Hats off to them. They had a great season. They exceeded big time, bro.
100%.
Big time. And I could only tip my hat up. John Schneider is going to win AL Manager of the Year. No doubt about that. And are they going to keep Bichette? We'll release that later on with our free agency predictions. But no matter what a successful season. Obviously, it didn't end up how they wanted it to. In my opinion, they were the better team. I saw somebody say this on Twitter. In my opinion, they were the better team this series. I think, yes, the Dodgers did win this series, and candidly, they do deserve it without a doubt. But the Blue Jays, in my opinion, played them so good. This is the best. This is the best I think I've seen even comparing to that Seattle series real quick, they stepped it up a notch even further, Toronto, this series. They played up to the Dodgers' potential, and they show, look, it's not going to be no gentleman's sweep. We're not going out in 6. We had it. They had it in the bag. I honestly do believe when it comes to a pitching standpoint, hitting standpoint, look, we could talk about that game 3. It went 18 innings. No, Freddie Freeman walked it off. We could talk about game 6, Barger underneath the wall and everything like that. So many controversies and everything. I know Blue Jays fans, how they feel about that. Bro, hold your head high and tip it to them because they had a great, phenomenal year.
Me personally, listen, I agree with you 100%. I just think the better team is going to win. And even though maybe on paper the Blue Jays look like they were a little bit more of a cohesive unit, the Dodgers just didn't go away. And that's just really what happened. The Blue Jays never had, well, they had the chances to put them away. They just never did. And in game 6, that play with Kike Hernandez, Barger's kind of got to realize where he is at that point on the base path and where that ball is being hit and where the fielders are. That to me is experience. You can't get doubled off there. You cannot get doubled off there. That is just something that you're not going to see the Dodgers do. And again, to me, maybe it's experience. Barger's, an inexperienced player. It's his first big postseason moment, really. These last couple of weeks have been, pretty big for that squad in general, like experience-wise. And to me, experience really casted a shadow over this Blue Jays team because it just showed you how prepared the Dodgers were. And even when their backs were against the wall and you thought Toronto was going to come out on top, out came the Dodgers. And to me, yes, maybe Toronto was the better team, but they weren't, if that makes sense.
I think by what I mean better team, I think as the whole series, not as a whole roster construction and everything like that and however you look at it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
I think this series, they played above their standards way more than everybody thought that they were going to do because respectfully, some people had this series going 6 at best, 5.
I did. I had Dodgers in 6.
The fact of the matter, this series could have been over for the Blue Jays in 6. They could have took it. They could have took it in 7. Look, I think by what I say, they were the better team this series. I think they had way more opportunities than the Dodgers that they created. And yes, they did not capitalize, but those opportunities weren't there and they presented themselves due to their great play all around pitching. Chris Bassett, obviously he didn't have the best outing, but throughout the World Series, other than Game 7, he was phenomenal coming out their bullpen.
Yeah.
Look,
and not for nothing. If Toronto wins Game 3, they would have swept LA and won the series. So
there we go. That's another phenomenal point right there. Look, at the end of the day as well, the Dodgers, credit to them. Like I said, they're the champs. They're the champs right now, going back to back. First time we've seen this since 98, 99. JV said, obviously JV's a Yanks fan. He remembers it. When you look at this offseason though, JV, and when you look at what's going to happen, and we'll get into like an offseason free agency video, and you look at the Dodgers winning the World Series and, no baseball for, I think you said it earlier, maybe 140 days or 100 and how many days?
144 days, yeah.
144 days. What do you look at the most, real quick, before we end it off, heading into this offseason?
I think a lot of teams are going to be aggressive, not just the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers really have everything that they need. They're probably going to shore up their bullpen a little bit. You have some question marks with Tanner Scott. How's he going to bounce back after a brutal 25 campaign? I mean, he was just awful the entire year. And Blake Trinan wasn't really great either. So they're going to have to shore up some pieces in their bullpen. Their starting pitching, obviously, is fantastic and probably tops in the National League and probably top 5 in baseball if you look at them like that. But I think a lot of teams are going to be a little bit aggressive. And I'll say this. I think it's because of the lockout that's potentially happening in 27. I do think a lot of teams are going to try to shore up whatever free agents are available and whatever teams feel comfortable money-wise offering these guys and getting a deal done. I think that's actually going to happen sooner rather than later. I know a lot of teams usually wait and they wait to see how hot the market is and see where guys get offers and see where everything, kind of falls. But I think that aggressiveness is going to come way earlier, knowing that there's a potential lockout looming in 27 and teams that want to address their needs, they address them quickly so they don't lose out. Because in 27, you may not have a chance to play baseball. Forget about signing a free agent. So if that lockout does happen and you get these free agents, at least the team is kind of set up structurally. You know what I mean?
I think heading into this offseason, it's a big one. The starting pitching market's pretty good. Obviously, we have the thoughts of like Skubal, everything like that, trades possibly happening. Look, it's about to be a chaotic winter. Another chaotic winter in our hands. We had the Soto saga last winter. Now we're gonna have the Tucker, a little bit less dramatic. It's not that big dramatic as Soto was. You know what I mean? But like,
right, yeah.
It's overall as a whole a great free agency class, in my opinion. For, like you said, lockout ahead. Who's gonna want to lock up some players right here? Give them some money, guarantee that out, so it won't be an issue. Where you can't even, you might not even be able to do that.
Right, and trades too. Trades may happen a little bit sooner rather than later because maybe teams look at it and say, "Hey, we have a guy that we want to move, and we don't want to wait till 27 because we may not be able to move that guy." Due to contract, formalities and whatever the case may be. Some teams may look at it and say, "We want to get this guy off the books before the potential lockout." So you may see some trades happen a little bit earlier as well.
Overall, just to kind of wrap it up, phenomenal season, another phenomenal season. I think this has been one of the best seasons we've had in quite some time. So many storylines happened this year, from top to bottom. Phenomenal baseball played, postseason, regular season, everything. Look, and what a World Series we had to end it off. I mean, can't get better than this. I know we're going to have the World Baseball Classic before the regular season, which is going to be amazing because, every time the environment, the energy with the WBC, it's always tremendous. But man, just to kind of wrap it up, JV, any thoughts on the season that we just had?
Yeah, it was phenomenal. I mean, as for me as being a Yankee fan, it felt kind of long, and it was definitely tumultuous with some injuries that we had and some bad baseball that we played. But overall, it was a great season. I was happy that the Yankees were able to fight for a division and kind of rival Toronto. As a Yankee fan, that was cool to see. They kind of made it a little bit interesting at the end. But as a baseball fan, looking over the league in general, I thought there was some great baseball played. There was some young talents that were also showcasing their talents and what we could expect in the future from certain guys. There was a lot of teams as well that made some good strides. The Reds being one of them. Fighting in the NL Central. Obviously, your Brewers and the Cubs making that division really interesting. So now it's kind of cool to see a three-headed monster in the NL Central, and there was obviously some good teams in the AL. Obviously, Toronto being a team that was, kind of just came out of the blue. Detroit's been really good. Kansas City is kind of fighting with being a threat in the AL Central. So, I can't wait to see what 26 has to offer. But 25 was really a phenomenal baseball season because I felt like it was a little bit, evenly competitive when it came to the National League and the American League. That there was a stigma, I think, to start the season that the National League was going to just run away with the entire league. You know what I mean? But I think that Toronto really represented the AL really well and put up a great fight. And 25 was definitely a season to be remembered, 100%.
Absolutely. As always, let us know what you guys think in the comments about this 2025 season that now has wrapped up. Dodgers, congratulations again. World Series champions back to back. Let us know. Continue dropping those subscribers. Those subscriptions here on YouTube. I'd appreciate that. We'd appreciate that big time. I know Mike would as well. Look, at the end of the day, we see the love that you guys have shown and, daily, and we see how the numbers be rocketing, bro. It does anything but just motivate us. That's the only thing it does. Motivate us, determinate us to the determination for us to continue doing this when we see those numbers go all the way up. It's the best feeling in the world. We're not going to stop because at the end of the day, we love doing what we're doing.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback off of what you said, the support has been phenomenal. It's like sometimes it's a little shocking to see how great it's been going the last couple, the last 6 to 7 weeks that we've been starting this. And, just to allude to some of the TikTok lives that you did, which were phenomenal. I mean, the amount of traffic and traction that brought to not only your page, but to JBM's page as well. Our Instagram completely blew up this weekend with the 3 lives that we did. I went live on the JBM page too on TikTok, so you could find us on TikTok, Instagram. We were posting multiple reels all day for like 3 or 4 days straight, just really trying to pump out content. Yep. So it's been phenomenal to see the feedback, and like I said, the amount of followers that we've gained on TikTok and Instagram in the last 3 days, just trying to be more interactive, has been fantastic. And that's on the fans. And like you had said too, we don't consider them fans anymore. We consider them family. So anybody who joins us, to me, is a family member. So it's been a really beautiful thing to see how this thing can possibly grow.
Like I said, just to close it out, make sure to subscribe, make sure to like, and like I said, JBM Sports Media also on Instagram, JBM Sports Media also on TikTok, and obviously here on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe. JBM out.